Chapter 30. The car stayed hidden in the trees on the roadside. Two men sat in front seats, one eating, the other just staring forward with his arms folded. He turned off the radio now, and it was silent but for the sound of the river, which was high with rainwater and ran harshly over the rocks, splashing its muddy waters everywhere.
"I was listening to that," the driver said. "Well, listen to the river instead. We're on a stakeout."
The driver looked at the empty balcony.
"I'd rather be somewhere else," he said. "I'm bored right now." "Stop talking," the man on the passenger side said. "This is a good spot. Slugger won't see us coming." "But why can't we just knock on and get the little shit?" he asked, unwrapping a fish sandwich, taking a bite, talking with his mouth full. "You're obsessed with the kid," he said. "It's weird." "Stakeouts are fun." "They're not. They're boring." He paused. He looked at his sandwich. "I'm almost out of food." "Stop talking." "Why?" "I see him. Go. Stop eating and go." The driver jabbed his keys into the ignition. The engine bleated and headlights glowed in the darkness as they moved slowly towards the car park and stopped again, headlights beaming in Anders' face. He looked away, holding his head in his hands, blinking, leaning on the bonnet of another car with clouds of white dots blurring his vision. He reached for the paracetamol and took some. He kept his eyes away from the lights and listened to footsteps swishing through puddles. "What's the idea, Slugger?" he heard a voice say, and when he looked up again, the passenger was coming towards him, Big D's smiling face. "Turn off the lights," Big D said. "Turn them off." Suddenly, it was dark again. Lance sat with his hands on the steering wheel, his window open, his thinning hair lifting in the breeze. He watched them for a while. Then he came over and joined them. "He's been tipped off," he said. "Look." He pointed to Anders' backpack on the wet tarmac floor. "He's getting out of town." "Easy, Lance," Big D said. "We'll get to that." "Nope," Lance said. "I've wasted enough time." He was already grabbing Anders' shirt, dragging and pushing him towards the car, their feet splashing through puddles, squeaking on the tarmac. "Be careful with that arm," Big D said as they passed. Then he was laughing as Anders struggled with Lance, swiveling, pivoting together like ballroom dancers. "Get up," Lance said with his wet fringe over his eyes. "Get up!" He leaned over Anders, spraying him with fish breath. "Come on now." He opened the car door, reached for Anders' good arm, swung him around full circle and threw him across the back seats. "Stay facing down," he said, watching him through the window. "Yield, boy, yield." He spoke breathlessly as he locked the door. "Yield." He tucked his shirt into his pants and returned to Big D. Anders' face appeared at the car window. From there he watched Big D with his guitar in hand, strumming the strings with his thumb. "Search his stuff," he said to Lance, pointing to Anders' belongings on the tarmac, mostly damp clothes. "But I'll keep this." He picked up a towel and sniffed it. "Jesus," Lance said. "Anyone would think you'd never seen a towel before." "Just get on with it, Lance, before it rains again." "You gonna hold it like that all night?" "Just get on with it." I am. What do you think this is?" He took something wrapped in paper. He looked at Big D. "What is it?" Big D said. "Why is it wrapped in Thomas the Tank Engine paper?" Lance shrugged. "You think it's something?" Lance shrugged again. "Just get on with it. Open it." He watched Lance rip open the paper. "That's creamed corn," he said, reading the label. "I know. I just opened it," Lance said. "That's why we're here." "Is it?" Big D smelt the towel again and looked at the can. "I got the shopkeeper's statement." "Well, read it then." Lance unfolded a piece of paper from his pocket. He read aloud, while Anders watched from the back window, wondering what he'd just unwrapped. "Spectacled chap walks into my shop without reason and begins touching everything," Lance read. "My boy approaches him about this, but the chap panics and runs away with creamed corn, tripping over my display of hot dogs, escaping." "I've had enough," Big D said. "That's one boring statement." "Well," she goes on to say her boy chased him through the streets. "I got what I needed." "What's that?" Lance laughed. "The towel," That will do about the towel. Okay, whatever. Are we taking him in? Well, we haven't been on a stakeout for nothing. And it's definitely him. Lance looked across the car park. He told Anders to lie down and face the back seats. Well, I watched the footage myself, Big D said. It's clearly Anders, just like the statement says. Big D laughed. The hot dogs, he said. He takes out the HAL display. There's this new thing called YouTube. The CCTV footage is on there. I don't surf the net, Lance said, standing with the can. Well, it's on there, Big D said. There's edited versions too. One's been speeded up with Benny Hill music playing and everything. I'm not much into that, though I would like to get back for the game. Fair enough, Big D said, putting the towel over his shoulder. Pack up his stuff and we'll go.
Big D was back on the passenger side, watching Anders through the middle mirror, looking at the wet clothes that Lance had dumped around him and the handcuffs on his lap.
He could have packed up his shit,
he said now as Lance walked around the car, smoking a cigarette. Lance said nothing. He just appeared at the back window, telling Anders to wear the cuffs.
Put them on, Slugger, Big D added.
He'll put them on, Lance said.
He better put them on.
He went to the driver's side and got in. Is it necessary? Anders said, leaning forward. My arm is set in cast.
Just put them on.
But my arm, he said. Big D lowered his aviators and looked in the mirror.
Put them on, he said. It's procedure.
But my arm is broken.
I'm counting at 10, Lance said. If you get to 10, you'll have 2 broken arms.
Anders picked up the cuffs, clicking into them, keeping one as loose as possible around the cast.
Let me check,
Lance said, pulling him forward by the small chain between the cuffs, tightening them until the plaster cracked.
Much better,
he laughed, now seeing tears in Anders' eyes.
Now we drive to the station.